Oh, I'll be funny later. All right. We're going to start by coming into Sphinx. So slide your elbows just slightly in front of your shoulders. Maybe wiggle your hips a little bit. Take your legs out wide. Whew. Maybe you feel some tight abdominals. And let's just add a couple face yoga postures to our Sphinx this morning. So some silent wows. Let your eyes be open. Wow when you see the world. Wow. 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 Beautiful. Let your shoulders drop up into your ears for a couple moments and just feel the squeeze into your trapezius muscles and then pull them down to really feel that marked difference. And let's just do a couple of neck rolls here too. So you take them slow. Um, if there's a spot that's particularly tender, just slow down and pause there a little bit rather than skipping it. And of course, take your circles in the other direction. And then come back to stillness. Let your shoulders soften down. And just take a couple moments to notice how your physical body is feeling this morning. I think it was yesterday morning I was talking about how when our physical body is feeling great, it kind of disappears from our consciousness. It kind of goes poof. And it's really when we are sore or hurting or injured that our awareness of it is so much bigger. So take a couple breaths to just also make sure you're checking in with the places that feel good as well as the places that have your attention. Notice if your head has been slowly sinking back into your shoulders and just softly pull your shoulders back down. And then staying in Sphinx pose, just take your right thigh and pull your right thigh up so it's level with your hip. Or maybe a little lower. Yes, nice. And then switch your legs. No, that's frog. So like you're doing half a frog in Sphinx. Take a couple moments to notice your feelings. Oh, wait, we skipped the energy body. Very important. Notice your energy body first. So I don't know about you, but sometimes when I wake up in the morning, like it feels nearly like my head gets me up, and then slowly the rest of my body wakes up. All right, straighten your leg, and with your exhale, slowly lower down to the mat and just stack your forearms, put your head onto your forearms, and wiggle your butt side to side. Nice. And then turn to your right, and we are going to go into frog. So you can fold the edges of your yoga mat in to put extra padding underneath your knees. And you want to have your knees and your hips lined up the same way. So if I was on the floor, this is my alignment where the hips and the knees are the same, and then my ankles are right underneath. And then, don't I look like a frog? Yeah, totally. Awesome. A good indication that you're in the right posture is that with every exhale, it gets a little bit more intense. You might want a blanket or a pillow in front of you to lie on. You want anything, Soph? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Take a full breath in, and with your exhale, just sigh out. And take a couple breaths to really now check in with your feelings. Take some moments to notice how your thinking has been so far today. And then take a couple moments to dream/imagine an intention of how you want to grow or who you want to become. And it can be a little, fuzzy and definitely unique. We want to hold the polarities of being absolutely special, needed, wanted on this earth. At the same time, to remember our equality with all human beings. So, continually in our practice, this theme of bringing opposites together, of bringing things that could easily stand in opposition into a life-giving relationship, into a dynamic relationship. So even in our physical body, we want to notice that we're balancing out our strength and our flexibility. And becoming more flexible doesn't really strip our power, make us less strong. Or becoming more flexible, I just said that, becoming more strong doesn't let us lose our flexibility. In that vein, we want to keep practicing being ourselves more and more clearly, so thereby we really give room for other people to be more themselves, coming into this complementary relationship, just like the right blue makes the right orange look more orange because of the blue's blueness. Now, take 5 more full deep breaths. And then after your 5th breath, slide forward, moaning and groaning. Wiggle around. And after you've moved, find your way back onto your mat facing me. Maybe take a child's pose, embryo pose. So take a child's pose or embryo pose. That was a really negligent maybe in there. And let's bring some words from Wendell Berry into our practice today. Our philosopher farmer, someone who already managed to take 2 polarities and really bring them together in something that lives beyond his, personal reach. To go in the dark with a light is to know light. To know dark, go without sight, and find the dark. And find that the dark, too, blooms and sings, and is traveled by dark feet and dark wings. To go in the dark with a light is to know light. To know dark, go dark. Go without sight. And find that the dark, too, blooms and sings, and is traveled by dark feet and dark wings. And just roll up, coming into a seated position. Feel free to tuck your toes under for the extra juicy ohms. So for some of us, this is possible. I could sit here for a while. If it gets too much, feel free to just sit on your feet. Take your hands to heart center. Close your eyes, even with your head lifted. Beautiful. And let's sound 3 ohms. Sometimes they sound pretty, sometimes they just sound weird. But let it be heard. Empty your breath. Take a deep inhale. Bring your hands down. Slap out your feet. Rock back to stretch the tops of your feet and your ankles. And then slide forward onto your belly. And bring your forehead down to the ground. And cactus your arms. Beautiful. I just had to lift my head to talk, but you can keep your forehead on the ground. So start with your arms on the ground, your forehead on the ground. Now squeeze your legs together. And you're going to bend your knees. Yes. Now inhale and lift up your arms and lift up your knees. Lift up your head. Keep squeezing your knees together. Try to bring your feet more towards your buttocks. Now, how powerful are you this morning? Can you even smile? Yay! Abdominals lift up a little higher. Feel your shoulder blades squeeze together here. And then without going splat, gently lower yourself down to the ground. And then slide your hands underneath your shoulders and slide back into your tabletop position. I always think of Dolly's desk. All right. Then stretch your right leg back and push with the ball of your feet. Tuck your belly up and in. And then stretch your right leg straight up from your spine. Keep your toes pointing down. And then reach your left arm straight forward. Allow your belly to lift up towards your spine. Lengthen your neck so the back of your neck is in line with your spine. Now, get strong. Reach your hand and foot further away from each other. And now with your exhale, touch your elbow and knee together underneath you. Scoop your belly up. Lift up tall. Inhale, stretch long. Exhale, just touch it. We're just going for 3. Inhale, stretch long. Exhale, last one. Just touch it. Lift up your belly, warming up your center. And now inhale, stretch long. Now, with your next exhale, you're going to bend your knee and your elbow, make cactus limbs. Yes. So you bring your right knee up to your right hip, and you bring your elbow and shoulder on your left hand back. Inhale. So stretch long with the inhale. Exhale, bend your limbs, cactus them. One more. We're going for 3s, right? Stretch along and pull it in tight. Inhale, stretch long. And with your exhale, bring your left hand down to the ground. Bring your right foot behind your left toes and just open up, coming into a supported side plank here. And then with your exhale, come back to tabletop. Inhale, lift up your head, your heart, and your hips into cow. Exhale, push the ground away, arching your back, lifting up into cat. Inhale, cow. Moo. Exhale, meow. And then inhale, come back to a neutral spine. And courageously stretch your left foot back, tuck your toes under, feel your belly lift up, and then extend your leg. Reach your right arm forward. Turn your thumb up towards the sky. Your toes down towards the earth. Get long here. Think good thoughts. And then exhale, bring your elbow and knee to touch. Arch your back, lift your belly. Inhale, stretch long. Exhale, pull it in tight. 2. Inhale long. Exhale one more time, pull it in. Inhale, stretch your limbs long. And then bend your elbow, bend your knee, and cactus your leg and arm. Beautiful. Inhale, stretch long. Exhale, pull them. Cactusing. Inhale. Really pull your arm back as well. Cactus. One more time. That's the 3. And then inhale, stretch long. Bring your right hand down to the ground. Spin your left foot behind your right toes and lift up into a supported side plank. Fantastic. Reach through your fingertips. And then with your exhale, come back onto you all fours. Inhale, lift up your head, your heart, and your hips. Exhale, Arch your back, pull your belly up, lift up tall in your back, and then tuck your toes under and exhale, lift up into downward facing dog. Now pedal out your feet a little bit, wiggle around a little bit. Starting to move into our flow to really get our heat going. Find the weight come equally to your hands and your feet. Then inhale, glide forward into plank. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Pull your hips back up. Now inhale, move forward into plank. Now pull your belly up and feel like you're pushing back to downward facing dog with your abdominals. Yes, beautiful. We said 3 is a magic number. One more time. And feel the center pushing you back to downward facing dog. Take another full inhale, pull your hips up and back, lift up to your tippy toes, look forward, and hop your feet in between your hands and lift up, halfway lift with your inhale. Flat back. Exhale, release and bow down. Push down with your feet, rise up to the sky, stretch up tall. Exhale, Samastitihi. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, halfway lift. Walk or float. Exhale, chaturanga or the ground. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. You know your body. Exhale, downward facing dog. You okay, Carmen? Now inhale, move forward into plank. Now this secret little move often isn't said out loud. But before you go down to chaturanga, you want to really shift your weight forward to your tippy toes as much as you can, and then slowly come down to chaturanga, so that when you lift up to upward facing dog, your chest is in front of your shoulders. Even in low cobra, this brings your hands further back because of that shift forward. And then exhale, downward facing dog. So there's no rush. If your back needs you to do low cobra, you're still amazing and a bright and shining star. If chaturanga isn't in your strength yet, move through it and come all the way down to the ground. Take another full inhale, empty your breath all the way, look forward, walk or float your feet in between your hands and lift up, halfway lift. Exhale, release and bow down. Push down with your feet, rise up to the sky, stretch up tall. And exhale, Samastitihi. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold in half. Inhale, halfway lift. Walk or float. Exhale, chaturanga or the ground today. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Point your toes, lift your heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. And inhale, stretch your right leg up to the sky. Bend your knee and let your hips spin open. And close your hip and open it. Starting to feel two more times. Just feel this little swivel in your hips. Keeping your left heel on the ground perhaps. Or reaching with your left heel. Nice. Now with your next exhale, bring your right knee to touch your left elbow. Take it to your right elbow. To the left elbow. And then inhale, stretch your leg up to the sky. Relax it down into downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your left leg long. Bend your knee, let your hips spin open. Let it twist open and then close your hip to feel what changes. Open your hip again. Close it. Open. Close. Then open your hip up one last time, and with your exhale, take your left knee to touch your right elbow. To your left elbow. To the right. Yeah. Stretch your leg long. Exhale, release, and bring your left leg down to the ground. Inhale, pull your hips up and back. Empty your breath all the way. Lift up onto your tippy toes. Look forward and hop your feet in between your hands. Lift up, halfway lift. Exhale, release and bow down, trying to breathe through your nose. Push down with your heels, rise up to the sky, stretch up tall. Exhale, Samastitihi. Now inhale, let your hips sink down to Utkatasana. And then with your exhale, you're going to hinge forward, take your arms back behind you, interlace your fingers, lift up your chest. Find the weight in your heels, pull your knees back. Sink a little lower. Now sink as low as you can with your hips before your stomach touches your thighs or your heels lift up. And then with your exhale, bow forward, release your hands, drop your head. Inhale, halfway lift. And then walk or float. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your right leg up to the sky. With your exhale, bring your knee to your nose. Place your right foot next to your right thumb. Spin your left heel down. Rise up, warrior one. One breath. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your left leg long. Exhale, bring your knee to your nose. Belly lifts up. Carry your foot and place your foot next to your thumb. Back heel spins down. Rise up, warrior one. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Lead with your heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. Try to breathe through your nose. So we're practicing the Ujjayi breath. And you can think of this as like, the translation is a victorious breath. And it's like a stage whisper where everyone can hear you still, but it's quiet. So you want to have this kind of noisy breath. And maybe you'll feel that constriction in the back of your throat actually helps you breathe more into your back. Take another full inhale. Empty your breath all the way. Look forward, walk or hop your feet in between your hands and lift up, halfway lift. Exhale, release and bow down. Push down with your feet, bend your knees, drop your butt. Inhale. Utkatasana. Exhale, Samastitihi. Now inhale, Utkatasana. Hinge forward and see how low you can go with your hips again. Pull your belly up away from your thighs. Make sure your heels stay on the ground. Oh yeah. And with your exhale, bow forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Walk or float. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your right leg up to the sky, and with your exhale, touch your knee to your left elbow. Drop it down to your wrist. Ooh, lift it up to your elbow again. Yeah, inhale, stretch up your left leg. Exhale, bring your knee to your nose, belly lifts up, and place your foot next to your thumb. Rise up, warrior one. Now we're going to take some extra breaths here. Maybe take your hands to your hips and really square your hips forward. Then you feel like you're stretching the yoga mat long, pushing with the outside edge of your back foot down into the ground. Let your hips square. So it's a verb. They're squaring, yeah? So you're pulling your left hip forward as your right hip pulls back. So pull your right hip back. Get space between your ribs and your hips. It's like your holy dessert rim. Stretch up. And then lunge a little bit more. Bring your hands together. Lift up. Just a baby back bend. Then with your exhale, open up, warrior two. Inhale, reverse your warrior. And exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your left leg up to the sky. Exhale, take your left knee to your right elbow. Drop it to your wrist. Drop it like it's hot. Rise it up. And stretch it back. You can do extra, that's fine. Exhale, bring your knee to your nose, really deliberately lift up your belly and place your foot next to your thumb. Spin your right heel down to the ground. Lift up. Warrior one. Now feel it. Maybe you can feel it without your hands. Are your hips squared? If not, you don't have to do this on a tightrope. You can separate your feet a little bit, and that gives more space for your hips to square forward. Beautiful. Stretch through your fingertips. Bend your left knee. Mula Mula Bandha. And then bring your hands together. Look up, lift up, a little baby back bend. Take another full inhale here, and then exhale, open up, warrior two. Inhale, reverse your warrior. And with your exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a full breath in. With your exhale, just sigh out. Whew. Take another full breath. Empty it all the way. Look forward. Lift up to your tippy toes and hop your feet in between your hands. Lift up halfway. Exhale, release and bow down. Let your head drop. Bend your knees, drop your booty. Inhale, Utkatasana. And then exhale, Samastitihi. Let your eyes even lift and your chin lift. Oh, thank you. Inhale, reach up, slide down. And now take your hands back behind you. Lift up your chest. Get really curvy. So you want the curve in the front of your ankles, behind your knees and your hips. That's not usually what we're thinking of. And now lift your heart up, and with your exhale, come forward with your hands together, trying to bring your knuckles towards the ground, reaching your palms together. And then inhale, halfway lift. Release your hands, push your hands to your shins or the ground. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. That's cool. You love that pose. Rise up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your right leg up to the sky. With your exhale, bring your right knee to your right elbow. Drop it down to your wrist. Lift it up. Oh yeah, stretch it long. Other right leg. And now step your right foot to your right thumb. Spin your left heel down. Rise up, warrior one. Open up, warrior two. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Switch your legs, Kala. And then with your exhale, you're going to bring your right elbow to your right knee. And then you're going to swoop your left arm up so the palm's facing the ground. Nice. Now you can either stay here or you can drop your hand to the back of your right foot. The medium is like tenting your fingers, or you can use a block behind you. Notice if you can drop your left hip and slide your right hip more forward. Yeah, beautiful. And now see if you can float your right elbow. Maybe fix your eyebrows, do your hair. Yeah. And then straighten your arms to the front of the room like you're carrying a big beach ball. And inhale, ooh, lift up. Spin your toes in. And bring your hands back behind you again. Lift up your heart and bow forward. Toes more in than your heels. And then release your hands to the ground and actually walk your hands back behind you. Oh, I see it. Thank you. And then lift up your chest. Walk your hands forward, bring your hands underneath your shoulders, and pull your belly up to your spine, lift up your thighs, and then stretch your right leg, stretch your right arm up to the sky, coming into a supported twist here. So feel how you have to lift up your left hip. So lift your left hip more, Karan. Oh yeah, there you are, babe. And then switch your hands. Bring your right hand down and lift up your left. Feel like you have to lift up your right hip now. Yeah? And then with your exhale, bring your hands down. Walk your hands to the front of the mat and come into your vinyasa. So walk your hands forward. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a big breath in. Sigh out. Inspire your neighbors with your exhale. Inhale, stretch your left leg up to the sky. Exhale, bring it to your elbow. Drop it down to your wrist. Up to your elbow and lengthen your leg back up. Exhale, step your left foot to your left hand. Rise up, warrior one. Open up, warrior two. Inhale, reverse your warrior. And then exhale, side angle variation. So bring your left elbow onto your left knee. Slide your arm so that your palm is facing the ground. And you have a straight line from your right middle finger all the way down to the right outside edge of your foot. See if you can get light in your left elbow. See if you can drop your right hip down more. Oh, stretch your arms. Woo. Reach up. Oh, yeah. Okay. And slide up to the center. This time, turn your toes out. Take your hands back behind you and see if you can come into reverse namaste. So what you do is you take your fingers and you actually you bring your hands together with your fingers pointing down, and then you slide your fingers up your spine and see if you can get them to come and meet in between your shoulder blades-ish. Now turn your toes out with a hint of a smile lower down. You want to track your knees over your toes, so don't let your knees collapse in too far. Keep your heart lifting up. You want to tuck your buttocks under so you're, yes, like you're really riding a horse. And if you want lessons, I believe Karen's the one to ask. Now, if this is easy for you, awesome. Lift up your right heel. The heel. Yeah. And then put it back down. And then lift up your left heel. And then put it back down. Then lift up both of your heels. See if you can come lower. Oh, yeah. Notice if you can come lower without squeezing your lips. And then straighten your legs. Release your hands. Turn your toes in and bow forward. Find the weight coming towards your toes a little bit more than your heels. Your toes. It's really the balls of your feet, not so much the toes. Now, yogi's choice. You can bend your elbows and bring your head onto the ground, bending your knees maybe a little bit. And then slide your hands back so you can see your fingernails. And if you can see your fingernails, then maybe see if you can get your knees on top of your elbows. You can bend your knees a lot if you need to. Beautiful. And then maybe lift up one leg. Maybe lift up two. And then bring your feet back down to the mat. Bring your hands out in front of you. Pull your belly up. Inhale, twist, lifting your right arm up to the sky. Let your left hip really lift up. Exhale, bring your hand down. Inhale, lift up your left arm. Let your right hip lift up. Exhale, bring it back down. And stay low. Walk your hands to the front of the mat. Exhale, I love chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. And drop your knees down to the ground. Come into a momentary child's pose. If you still want more fire, you can come into turbo dog. And then rise up onto your elbows and your knees. Now tuck your toes under and lift up into dolphin. Dolphin is where your elbows are on the ground. And squeeze your elbows in so that there's lots of room for your head. So you can nod your head yes, yes, no, no, and the mat doesn't get in the way. Yeah? And then maybe being here is just absolutely great for you. Strengthening your shoulders, strengthening your abdominals, really preparing you for a headstand. Or maybe you want a little bit more, and then tiptoe your feet towards you and stretch one of your legs straight up to the sky without your head touching the ground. Oh, that's right. You want to be able to shake your head no, no. And then before you let the drop down, maybe do a little hop, whoop, and then switch your legs. Oh, yeah. And just maybe a little hop. And exhale, come back down, child's pose. Then lift up your chest and stand tall on your knees. Tuck your toes under. You want to feel the lift in the front of your body, the lengthening in your back body, yeah? So you're lengthening your lower back, you're lifting your abdominals. Bring your hands behind you, fingers pointing up to keep your back long. Lift up your chest, drop your head back. Maybe hold on to your heels. You want to feel like the form is like a wheel that wants to roll forward. You know, I'm thinking of a nice wheel of like Gouda, but maybe you're thinking of like a bicycle wheel or something. Now stick out your tongue, look at your third eye, and like a lion that's lost its voice, roar. Fantastic. And come back to child's pose. You might have to wipe off your chin. And then inhale, come up onto your elbows and knees. And really squeeze your elbows in again. And when you have your hands extended straight forward as if your middle finger is coming straight from the line of your forearm, you want to think about pushing down the inside of your wrists. Tuck your toes under, pull your belly up, and lift you up into dolphin pose. Look forward. Now take it as far as you want to go. Maybe you want to lift up into full forearm balance. Maybe you just want to lift one leg. Allow yourself to breathe. Squeeze my hand. Squeeze my hand. Beautiful. Then hinge at your hips to come back down. Come into child's pose. Nicely done, Pear. Did that feel okay? Yeah. Beautiful. Inhale, lift up onto your knees. One last camel pose. If you've got a super open bendy back, you can do Kapotasana here too, where you come back and you bring your forehead in between your feet. I'm not going to show you this morning. Inhale, lift up your chest. If you're bendy in your back, you can stretch your feet out. Lift up your heart and drop your hands back onto your heels. Now feel the energy of it. So you want to feel like you've rolled over like maybe a big fat barrel. So as if you were if you were letting go of your legs, you would flip open or flip forward kind of thing. And then inhale, lift up. Exhale, come forward into Sphinx. And now lift up your belly and just kind of pull with your arms forward and feel like you can actually like stretch the bottom of your ribs here, like as if you're going to drag your body forward. Do you feel it a little bit? Nice. So it's an active Sphinx. We often just do the yin one. Now, tuck your toes under and lift up into forearm plank. And then roll to your left and stack your heels. And then see if you can cactus your top foot and top arm. Yeah. And then stretch them long. Oh yeah, exhale. Let's leave a little juice for the other side. Come back to forearm plank. Slide your feet together, roll to the right. Stretch your arm, top arm up. Keep lifting up your hips and see if you can do one holy cactus here. Yeah, keep your bottom leg long and straight, resting on your forearm. And then stretch your limbs long. And then come back down. Nicely done. Back into your Sphinx. And let's finish the way we started, kind of. So you're going to bring your right knee up. And just pause here for a moment, staying in your Sphinx for a second. I'm glad you broke a sweat today. And then you're going to take your left hand, you're going to reach behind your right elbow, grab onto your knee, and then roll onto your back, opening up your hand. Yes. Take a full breath in, and with your exhale, sigh out. Oh, good work. So it's so lovely to see the light coming back, even though we started our class with a poem about darkness. And then roll back to your belly. Come into Sphinx again. Slide your left knee up. Then reach behind your left elbow, grab onto your knee, roll open. Opening up your right arm, letting your hand drop a little lower than your shoulder, palm facing down. It's amazing. You can get blinded in the dark, of course, but you also can get blinded in the light. And most of the times we're seeing not the ends of the extremes, because you can't see in those ends, but we're seeing in the middle. And that's when things are presented to us most clearly, when there's actually a balance of this light and dark. And this life-giving, complementary relationship. And rather than getting in the habit of going, oh, light good, dark bad, try, using different language around it. Like darkness is often the mystery. Then continue to roll all the way onto your back. Hug your knees to your chest. And we're going to do this super high-tech rock and roll, just massaging your spine one last time before Shavasana. And you're going to do half of your rotation. So you're going to rock back and forth and just rock your way to come back to where you started. Lie on the mat. Come into Shavasana. Let gravity have you. Palm open, palms open. Feel free to cover yourself with a blanket. Close your eyes. If your lower back is sore or hurts, you can always have your feet as wide as the mat with your knees bent and your knees falling together. Now really come into this resting pose so that your body gets still, but allow your attention to stay in your room, in your body, on your mat. With your next inhale, bring your breath back to the edges of your body. Wiggle your fingers and your toes, your face and your nose. And then roll over onto your right hand side, hugging your knees to your chest. Just feel your vibration, your cells celebrating that you are you. And help yourself up into a comfortable seated position. Allow your hands to meet at heart center. Feel the ground below you lift up tall, let your chin even lift. And let's sound one final Om. Empty your breath. Take a deep inhale. Bring your prayer hands to your third eye. Invite the divine light. And as we bow forward together, we say, Namaste. Thank you so much. Go out there and be wonderful. Yeah, yeah.